What is going on, guys? Welcome back. This is podcast number 1 of the First Come First Serve podcast. I am here in my house, quarantined like all of you, which is why this is on a Zoom call. We have a very special guest for this very first podcast of the First Come First Serve podcast, my good friend, Daniel Colangelo. So Daniel,
what's going on? What's going on, man?
What is going on? So, I mean, to all of my viewers, you are a new face on the YouTube channel and obviously on the podcast. So why don't you just, first of all, explain your connection to me and kind of how you know me and how we met each other.
Yeah, man. So glad that I met you. Definitely one of the biggest inspirations I have and like one of my best friends for sure. We met at Apple. I'm going to say, what is it? Almost 4 years ago now. We used to work at Apple together.
Yeah.
Used to work at Apple together and we kind of just connected there. I remember I walked in, I think I was wearing like a Supreme crew and you're like, yo, bro, that's a fire crew, bro. And we kind of just like connected that way. And then we started talking about sneakers and streetwear. And then it was just like the budding of a new friendship. And yeah, man, ever since then, we've just kind of been connecting, catching up, going for coffees, getting on calls. Obviously social media is a big thing too with us. So yeah, man, that's how we met, Apple.
Damn, love it. Those were the days.
Yeah, man.
Damn. Now, obviously I have you on here for a reason beyond the fact that we're just friends. You're also into sneakers and streetwear like I am. So why don't you kind of explain what your relationship is with streetwear and sneakers and all that?
Yeah, man. With me, I think it's a little deeper than just kind of like streetwear and sneakers as like a whole. Like growing up, I was always like that guy in elementary school. Oh, you have like such nice shoes. Like I think that was like the memory in like my yearbook from elementary school was like, oh, Daniel always had nice shoes, but it was never like hype stuff, you know?
Yeah.
I think I had a pair of like SBs in elementary school growing up, but like I never knew like the atmosphere of it, like how big of like a thing it was in the sneaker world, right? But yeah, I think the way that kind of our media is going and like the industry is going, streetwear is like on the brink, if not already like on the full emergence of like what it can be and what it will be. But yeah, I think it's a great realm for like anybody who's looking to kind of like vibe with like a community that's always there. And like people have so many different interests in that inner community. So I think in regards to like my sort of relationship with it, it's growing and it's very strong.
Is there something in your childhood or in your history that was like a defining moment of like, oh, this is why I got into streetwear and sneakers, or no, just kind of gradually?
There probably was a few. Nothing comes like to mind off the top of it. I think I've always been like very immersed into like the world of tech, which is obviously why we met at Apple. It's something that it's very like close and dear to us.
Yeah.
I remember when Instagram first came out, I was super hyped that I could like follow all these accounts and kind of like link them to like my own account, right? Like that was like the big thing when Instagram came out. And the first accounts that I followed, I remember it was NBA, it was Sneaker News, and I think it was Complex as well. And they weren't as big as they were now, but I think the love for that came from, I realized that there was a bigger community than just like the people that I knew who also appreciated sneakers through social media.
Good call. Now, I mean, obviously you're in your house. The facial hair is looking nice, I might add.
Thanks, dude.
I'm in my house. I gotta ask, bring it up real quick. How are you doing during this time?
Yeah, it's a crazy time for sure. I've been saying this to everybody that's kind of like asking me like, oh, how's it going? Like, what are you doing? I'm glad I get to kick it with the family. But of course, like yourself, you miss going out with your homies, you miss seeing people, just having that social connection. So it's definitely a curve for us. I think we'll be able to get through it. But everybody needs to stay inside and just stay healthy, because the more that we do that, the quicker we'll be able to get out.
Yeah. You mentioned family. Obviously, you're inside all the time. Is there anything specific you're doing to keep busy with the family? Playing board games, or what's up?
Yeah, my mom tries to suck us in every night. She's like, "Oh, let's have a family movie night. Let's like play cards together." Yeah. I finished my undergrad at Ryerson last week, so like now I have all this free time on my hands. Like, yeah, thanks, bro. Literally don't know like what to do with myself. So I was trying to like look at maybe some wholesale hoodies the other day, or just kind of like immerse myself more. So I'm not just like ripping video games all day with the guys, but definitely like in regards to family, I'm not sure if you can hear my dog barking. Sorry about that.
No.
In regards to like family, my mom's definitely trying to keep us together. We go for drives, walk sometimes. So got to stay busy.
Yeah, my parents live, they live out in Bowmanville, which is like, for those of you not from Toronto, it's about an hour outside of Toronto, give or take. And we FaceTime almost every day and just try and stay connected. I find that we're FaceTiming or connecting more now that this is all happening, which is kind of strange and ironic, but I mean, it is what it is. I'm enjoying it. So
for sure,
here we are.
For sure, man.
Have you been keeping up with like sneaker news and new drops and stuff like that?
Yeah, I think that's the great thing about social media is you're never like you're never living under a rock, right? It's always right there on your phone. So in regards to sneaker news, like a lot of stuff has been dropping lately. I would say the month of March is pretty strong. Of course, with the Nike Stussies that came out, you and I were both able to secure a pair.
Right.
But yeah, I know that will probably transition to some of your next questions. But yeah, I've been keeping up with everything.
Nice. Good to hear. Good to hear.
Yeah, man.
Now, one reoccurring segment I want to have on this podcast is a speed round of questions where I'm going to ask my guest 6, or actually in this case 5 questions, and you have 30 seconds to answer all of them. Kind of like Family Feud and the speed round at the end there. I'm going to give you 30 seconds, and the time will start after I read the first question. And I'm going to have a timer on my phone for 30 seconds for all those that can see. Boom.
Okay, Steve Harvey, let's do it.
All right, Steve Harvey, let's do this, okay? And question number 1 is, what's the most recent pair of sneakers that you bought?
The Nike Stussy Spyridons.
Okay. What's your most worn pair of sneakers?
My off-white OG Prestos. Jeez. With the black laces.
Black laces. What's your favorite pair of sneakers that you own?
I would probably say the Prestos because I can wear them all the time with everything. Yeah.
Nice. What's your cheapest pair of sneakers?
Probably some pair of Flyknit racers.
And your most expensive pair?
The Travis Scott ones.
Oh, right on time. Hey, damn. Travis Scott ones. You gotta tell us, how much did you drop? You bought them resale, obviously, because they're most expensive.
I bought them resale. I think it was about 3 or 4 days after like they officially dropped on the Travis Scott website and on sneakers, and of course there's a lot of these flying everywhere. But yeah, I paid resale. I went through StockX. I was not one of those people that got the fake pairs, so we're good that way. I double, triple checked it. I paid. How much do you think I paid for them?
Canadian or US?
Canadian.
I'm gonna go when they first dropped. I'm gonna say, wait, what size are you? 11?
11.
1100.
Okay, so I actually paid under $1,000, which was good at the time.
That's surprising.
At the time, right? So I think I was kind of like caught in like that bubble, but now obviously the price has skyrocketed. I've used and abused mine, so yeah, they're definitely staying in the rotation.
I feel like, sidetrack. I feel like Travis did that strategically because he knew that like the Jordan 1 high would be probably his best silhouette with Nike for 100%. A while. Yeah, 100%. And then they brought out the low and the 6 and the Air Force. The Air Force 1 is up there as well. Obviously, but I don't think anything will beat the impact that the 1 high had, and I think that's why they released them in that order, so that the price would gradually go up over time and have this like this epic impact on
for
culture.
Sure.
So that's
for
really
sure.
Cool.
For sure.
That was fun. I like that. I'm gonna definitely keep doing that segment. That's a lot of fun.
5 questions is good. I wouldn't push it to 6 unless you have like some wizard on the show. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah. Just like a script. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, given the current situation with most stores and companies closing their retail locations, what do you think of the current state of retail as a whole? Like, do you think it's thriving? It's taking a hit? Like, what do you think? And how do you think? What do you think about companies responding in the way they are to all that's happening?
Yeah, I think everybody's doing the right thing. It was kind of like a domino effect, I would say, after the whole Rudy Gobert situation came out. right after the NBA. That's the way I kind of saw it. Like right after the NBA kind of like announced that Rudy Gobert had COVID, it was kind of a domino effect with all the leagues, and then more stores start to close. And that's the way I kind of saw it. I know Apple closed down all their retail stores, and then I saw more retail stores go down. Ronnie's posting about the Kith location all going down, right? But yeah, I definitely think it's the right move. And if this wasn't happening, I think retail as a whole is kind of reimagining itself, which I think is very good, because you don't ever want, like, it will happen eventually one day, but like online shopping is kind of like the epitome of, I guess, streetwear and clothing shopping right now. Like nobody really goes into stores anymore, but I think a lot of people are, like, a lot of retail stores and brands are kind of having like a rebirth in regards to, like, there's sometimes where like you actually have to go into the store to pick up stuff. Like I know Supreme, they had their Brooklyn tee that was only available at the Brooklyn location, right? So yeah, I think they have to be able to stay ahead of the curve if they want to thrive in a retail space.
I totally agree. And I think one thing that Virgil always says is that we're living in a renaissance when it comes to streetwear culture and sneaker culture and all that. And I never really thought about it that deeply, but recently I thought about kind of the idea of living through a renaissance. And you're totally right with retail, especially with the stores that we gravitate towards. They're kind of becoming museums as opposed to actual stores. You know what I mean? Like,
for sure.
They have an impact beyond the transaction, way beyond the transaction, and that's kind of like a renaissance. They're changing the meaning of how things are done in society typically, which is a really interesting take. I like that you brought that up. That was really cool.
Yeah, man.
Now, after we come out of all this, or even kind of tailing out of it, whether it's in the summer or in the winter or whatever, however the virus takes us, do you see it having an impact at all on upcoming releases or anything like that in a positive or negative way?
I think it'll be I think our world and our society as a whole, it'll definitely be a slow transition. Like even if everything like was to open like in like a mass way, like if the government or if we're just like going to kind of say, okay, everything's done, everything can open, resume as it should. I think regardless of that, people will still kind of be hesitant to like shake people's hands and kind of just like interact with people. Nothing will be the same for, I would say, a while now.
Yes.
In regards to how retail is going to handle it, I think it'll follow that pattern. It won't be a full like opening, reopening again. I think there'll be baby steps. It'll be like pickups in store, or maybe I think they'll still do the certain amount of people in the store at a given time. I think that's a good way of kind of doing it. A lot of grocery stores are doing that right now as well.
Yeah.
So I think when everything does open again, it's going to be a slow transition, but it'll eventually get to back to the norm.
Yeah, I know earlier you mentioned Ronnie talking about the whole coronavirus thing, how that's impacting things right now. Do you listen to the Complex Sneakers podcast?
I listened to the first 2 or 3 episodes, but I haven't listened to the ones as of late. Yeah.
Okay, so they just dropped one last week, I think on Friday with Ronnie. It's a long episode. It's like an hour and a half. It's an amazing episode. You should definitely listen to it. Shouts out Ronnie and shouts out the whole Complex.
This is the one with Don Welty and LaPuma, right?
Yeah, okay, exactly. Cool. Shouts out Kith. Okay, so you on that podcast, actually, sidetrack, the Nike and Kith Air Force Ones that got leaked like in December and November?
Correct. Yeah, for sure. How could you not know them?
Yeah, I know. Those are like unreal. So they were friends and family, right?
Yes.
And then like a week or two ago, Ronnie shared a picture of the white and red Air Force Kith Air Force Ones
on the cover of the magazine.
Yeah, on that Japanese magazine. And it was kind of like, oh, okay, so like what's happening? So in the podcast, he explains that Kith is actually opening a Tokyo location for Kith. Which is it's going to be the most impactful location for Ronnie, at least, because that's where he got most of his inspiration. Early on in his career, and that shoe is going to launch at the Tokyo opening, the red and white Air Force One. Yeah.
That'll be fire. That's gonna be a crazy drop, bro.
Oh
People are
my
probably
God.
gonna like book flights out there for that.
I'm about to book a flight. If this passes, I'm booking a flight 100%. Damn.
Holy.
Now, I'm gonna switch gears real quick, and I know you're currently working with Outfit Grid
Mhm.
in a more creative affiliation. Do you mind kind of describing what your affiliation is specifically with Outfit Grid, or actually, let's start off. What is Outfit Grid? Do you want to explain it for the people?
Yeah, man. Yeah, for sure. So Outfit Grid's a platform. We're bringing a community of like minds together of creators, innovators, influencers, anybody that has sort of that niche for creating something in an innovative way that lays down their outfit, like what they're going to be wearing that day, or something that they just kind of like really vibe with in an outfit way, on a ground in kind of like a creative way, in an innovative space. So whether that's a cool flooring or you're adding some accessory in there, I've seen some people do it on a beach before, just kind of being like very out of the box and thinking in a creative way. So it's a social platform on Instagram right now. We're hovering just over 770,000 followers, which is insane.
Jeez, that's crazy.
And it's continuing to grow. Yeah, it's pretty awesome. And yeah, we've seen a lot of people sort of become very accustomed and like meet a lot of new people on this community. I know in March we just did a campaign with Nike for Air Max month. So each outfit grid that was selected for the month of March up until the 26th, which is Air Max Day, had to include an Air Max sneaker in their outfit grid. So that was very successful. And I know we were able to hook some people up with some stuff with Nike and just kind of go with it that way. So that was very successful. And yeah, I was brought on as a creative intern by Dennis, who's the founder of Outfit Grid. He has quite the past in the industry, so he knows what's going on. And yeah, we're gonna hopefully see moving forward, if there's a place for me there, and I can hopefully get a nice little gig going there.
That's fantastic. It's great to
Yeah,
hear.
man.
I know, like you yourself are probably one of the most stylish people that I know personally,
Thanks,
and
man.
that probably speaks to me the most because we have very common styles and we're into the same
Hmm.
brands and things like that. But
Hmm.
in your opinion, what makes a good outfit as a whole, from top to bottom? Like, is there something like a theme or an idea that you would tell people
Yeah.
makes a good outfit?
Well, I think like a lot of people, and I would say kind of like this next generation that's coming up in this whole streetwear hypebeast industry and generation, is they're kind of, they only care about name brands. So they think that like
Mm,
a hoodie, maybe a pair of pants, shoes, they all have to be like branded up, logoed up. So like they might need like a Supreme box logo with like Supreme Stone Island cargos with that patch on the side. And then they need like the latest Yeezys. I personally think Yeezys are dead, but maybe a pair of ones or something like that. And that's not personally what I think makes a good outfit or even a good
yeah.
outfit grid. I think that you need to be innovative with what you do. It needs to flow nicely. It all needs to kind of balance each other out. And you're good with balance too, man. You know, your sneakers have to match your top, the pants have to break it up. Dress
Mm,
pants out, as the legendary John Mayer says.
that's right.
Um, yeah, man. So you have to be unique, you have to be original, and just
Mm.
be true to yourself with whatever outfit that you make.
And then, okay, so two-part question real quick. Number one, how do you get featured? Like not like luck of the draw, but actually what are the steps to do it? Like do you
Yeah,
tag? And then number two, what tips would you give somebody that wants to be featured on the page?
yeah, for sure. So I would say like the way anybody can enter. Winners are selected at 8 p.m. Eastern time every day, and the way that kind of works is you have to take a picture of your outfit grid, preferably in like a square orientation, so
Mm,
not long, horizontal or vertical. Square orientation. It helps if you have like some close-up shots. That's what we've been liking lately. Just kind of if you swipe right, there's a close-up shot of the sneakers or of the
oh, cool.
details, stitching. Right, a lot of people are doing that. Um, and then yeah, I think we just kind of go through it. We kind of see what pops to our eyes. The way that you have to enter is you post the grid on your feed. You have to tag at outfit grid and hashtag outfit grid.
Okay.
We kind of filter through all the submissions via hashtag and via tag, so we
Mm,
see everybody's. We're very active with commenting on everybody's and just interacting with everybody. So we do see everybody's. And then I think the winner selected, like I said, it's just a pop to us. It has to vibe. We have to say, like, there has to be a wow factor there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's the way to get selected. And then I would say, if you want to create your own, like I said, just be original.
Yeah.
You're more likely to get a nod if it's something we haven't seen before. Like I said, right, there has to be that wow factor.
On any given day, how many on average submissions would you guys get? How many would you say?
I've seen anywhere from like 15, 20 to like 60 to 70 per day. So there's a good amount of entries. Yeah.
Nice.
There's a good amount of entries per day. And then obviously, like, during Air Max month, we had like hundreds of submissions per day, right?
Yeah.
I'm not sure if he's ever bounced into the thousands, but I've definitely seen hundreds for sure.
It's getting there. It's getting there. Kind of on the same lines, but maybe more directed just towards you. I know you kind of consume all of this content all day long, whether it's in your own time or whether it's with your internship with Outfit Grid. But is there one specific grail piece, whether it's a sneaker or a piece of clothing, that you wish you owned or is on your wish list and you have a goal of having it one day?
This question's actually come up a lot for me lately. I would say that it is a sneaker. It is a 1. It's a Jordan 1. And it is the Union Black Toe 1. I think that is one of like the cleanest like colorways I've seen in a long time. Just like the breakup of the stitching by the heel and everything, man. Like, that shoe is insane. And like, I always envision it like having them and just having like a nice pair of like corduroys on top, just falling right over the top of the shoe. And just, dude, like, I think that's like the cleanest thing that you can wear. That's like, it's not even like a pop statement. It's kind of just like subtle, you know? But people, like, if somebody's a sneakerhead or if somebody's like immersed into the industry and you're wearing those, they'll know that you're wearing those.
Yes. If you know, you know. Yeah.
If you know.
In my opinion, the Union LA Jordan 1 collab is, in my personal opinion, is the best colorway of the Jordan 1 of the whole 2010 decade.
Love that. I agree. 100%. I agree. I agree.
The moment it came out, like, I obviously didn't know the impact it would have today and the love that it would get throughout the last couple of years, I guess, it's been out. But even the moment it came out, it was like I fell in love. And I'm always, I don't know if you can hear the siren, sorry. I'm always a sucker for the vintage look or retro touches onto sneakers. So the moment I saw the yellow stitching between the top and the bottom and the exposed yellow like rim on all the different leather panels, and that was like that blew me away, like, absolutely unbelievable. Yeah, man.
No, I honestly think I agree with you. If I could trade my Travis Scott ones for those, straight up, done.
Yep. Done. I had 2 pairs of the black toes. You knew that, right?
I did know that.
Yeah.
You got rid of them.
I got rid of them early, and I sold them for decent. I didn't sell them for nothing, but I sold them for decent. But I wish I held on to them. Number 1, to keep, and number 2, if I wanted to sell, to make more money, because they're worth a lot. They're worth a lot.
For sure. Yeah, man, they went up.
I can't believe how much. Actually, it's funny because at first the blue toe was way more popular, and I actually don't know why. And then over time, not a long time, but a year and a half, 2 years, the black toe became more popular. And I always loved the black toe more from the start. But it's just funny to see how trends change like that, right?
Of course, man. People kind of realize, you know.
Oh yeah, 100%. People realize, and like, I think we can have a whole podcast on just this, but the OG Chicago colors on any Chicago or Jordan silhouette is always timeless.
Oh, of course. I'm going to flip the switch on you. I'm going to ask you a question now. If you had to wear an outfit top to bottom for the rest of your life, so let's go a torso piece, a pair of pants, you can throw socks in there if you want, maybe a hat, and then a pair of sneakers. I need to hear it right now. You had like nothing, like, this is it. You got to wear this for the rest of your life. Timeless, a timeless outfit.
Okay, so besides like a basic white tee undershirt, okay,
Correct.
besides that,
Yeah.
it would probably be a Kith hoodie, like a basic
Okay.
Kith hoodie, not
Okay.
box logo, nothing loud, just like a basic, mainly because of the quality and the craftsmanship.
Mm-hmm.
For pants, it would be a tie. It might be a pair of oh, the pants are tough. The pants are tough. I think I have a tie. It might be a pair of um, Stone Island pants, not the
Mm-hmm.
joggers, but ones that the ones that taper a bit more. They're not straight leg, but they're kind of like slim straight. And they have a version that has like the ghost
Yes.
badge, so it's like all
Yes.
black. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yes.
And then that's
The
that. And then
Shadow Project. That's what it's
yeah,
called.
yeah, yeah. Shadow,
Yeah.
exactly. Shadow Project. I always get the two confused, and to me they're the same thing, but whatever. Obviously, a pair of for me, a pair of high Nike socks,
Mm-hmm.
white, of course. And then for shoes, one pair of shoes for the rest of my life. I'm looking at my closet. That's why I'm trying to figure out what I might wear. One pair of shoes for the rest of my life with the Stone Islands. See, I'm torn between. I don't want to make it too special because then it's not timeless. You know what I mean? Like if I
You
say
stumped.
something,
You're stumped, buddy.
if I say something specific, then I might get tired of it. But
Yes.
you know what? I'm no, that makes the outfit too loud. Wait, pause. For those listening, the video is a lot more entertaining than the
Yes.
audio.
Yes.
You're gonna hear a
Yes.
lot of pauses in this segment. You know what? I'm gonna go. Oh, you know what? I'm gonna completely switch gears on the answer here. I'm gonna say um a pair of white old school Vans. Okay.
Okay.
Now
Cool.
now don't hate me because at first you're gonna think the Stone Island pants with
Yeah. Yeah.
the white Vans,
Yeah.
but to the untrained eye, or if you're a mile away, or if you're if even if you're close up, because I have the Shadow Project pants, you won't know they're
Mm-hmm.
Stone Island off the bat. They're not too loud. I'm
Mm-hmm.
getting the Stone Island pants because of the quality and the fit, and a black pair of pants that fall like that, cuffed twice, always looks nice
Perfect.
with a pair of white Vans.
Perfect. I agree.
Yeah. I would
Done.
say
That's it.
yeah, like I would say white Air Force Ones because I personally still love white Air Force Ones despite
Mm-hmm.
what everyone currently
Mm-hmm.
thinks about them. But
Mm-hmm.
for me, they're not like makes the outfit too much.
For sure, man. No,
Yeah.
that's good, top to bottom, man. I appreciate that, and I respect it for sure.
Thanks, brother. Thanks.
Mm-hmm.
I figure I'd bring up a few current trends on the marketplace since we're kind of on the topic, and
Yes.
I want to hear your hot takes. I know
Mm-hmm.
early on in the podcast you brought up having a pair of SBs. I'm not sure if they were Dunks, but a pair of SBs way
Mm-hmm.
back in the day. What
Mm-hmm.
are your current thoughts on Nike kind of springboarding the SB Dunk into a whole new stratosphere?
Yeah, I think it's great. I think Nike is seeing how the community is reacting to something that was so impactful in the past.
Mm.
I feel like Travis Scott has a lot of pull in that because people are obviously like, "Oh, look, he's wearing a pair of what the dunks. Like, how much are those going for? Like 20 G's." Or like he's wearing a pair of like the Stussy ones, right? And now Kylie's
Mm.
wearing them. So like I think it has a lot to do with like these influencers and like celebrities wearing dunks now, and they're like, oh, let's just get on the wave. But at the same time, I
Yep.
think it's cool that they're bringing back an old wave to the new wave. And like, I think the best part of it is that a lot of these shoes, unless you're getting them on like the sneakers app or through Nike directly, you
Mm.
have to go to sneaker shops to get these.
Yes.
That's the only place you can get seated with them, right? Or skate shops.
Skate shops. Yeah.
Sorry, not sneaker shops, skate shops. You have to go to skate shops to get these. And I think that kind of like divides the hype sneakerheads from like the
Mm.
true sneakerheads that want these,
Yes.
right?
As a lover of brand marketing,
Yes.
I love the fact that Nike makes most of the SB Dunks skate shop exclusive. That
Of
makes me so
course.
happy because that to me is like a long term approach for Nike. It makes a
Mm-hmm.
lot of sense because to give them to every store is devaluing the brand, and Nike does that a lot. I mean, like every brand does that naturally to sell more
Mm-hmm.
volume and secure the bag. But I'm so happy to see that Nike is trying to keep these a bit more exclusive when it comes to distribution.
For sure, man. Yeah, no, it's definitely a good move. I agree.
And then next current trend, this is more of a 2018, 2019 trend, but still definitely relevant. Why can't I say the word relevant in 2020? Is the whole idea of dad shoes. And with dad shoes, we have it both in more so the designer shoe space, but we do see it transition into the sneaker space. You could argue that shoes like the New Balance 990 are also dad shoes, but what do you think about all that?
I was personally, I was never on that wave. Speaking of wave, I had the 700 wave runners in my hand. I thought like the original colorway, and like those were like probably the nicest shoes that I have. I wore them once to work, and then I shipped them away right after. And I know you had them as well. Like very, very clean shoe. And I think that was like the only real dad shoe I like. I like the 990s. I like New Balances, but I don't think personally I could wear them. In regards to like this whole hype that's going on about them, like you said, more 2018 than 19 or even 2020. I was never on the bandwagon.
Facts.
Yeah, man.
I think
how about yourself?
I mean, I think it works better in the designer space because it pushes the envelope a bit more avant-garde of what people are used to with a shoe. For sure. And I think that's what good designer clothing does. It's not only luxury, but it's also it changes the way people think about pieces of clothing. Yeah, and I love it. I mean, like again, I personally am not gonna buy a triple S, but that's just my personal opinion. Or the Gucci ones. I'm not even sure what the Gucci ones are called, but I'm a fan. Kind of
ones that look like they have like the Gucci thing just
literally stamped
on the side.
Exactly. Yeah. It's like a generic like beige like hearing aid color. Kind of on the same lines. I know we have the Dior Jordan 1 pushed back until later on in the year, and we've had brands like Louis Vuitton collab with Supreme. But what do you think about designer brands making sneakers for everyday people, or even like Gucci and their main line making the regular loafers? What do you think about all that?
I think I'll start with like the collab side of it. Like you mentioned, Louis Vuitton Supreme. I think those collabs are like mad cool. Like especially if they're retailing for the streetwear brand price, not the designer price. Then that's tight if they do it that way. But in regards to like all designers kind of like venturing into that space, I don't like it personally. I think they should just kind of stay where they are, like do what you're doing, like make these high-end sneakers or high-end kind of like fabrics and materials and clothes. Like don't like, no, I wouldn't say stoop down to these other brands levels, but like you're good at what you do. Like people buy you for your brand and your quality. Like don't like just let these other brands and companies do what they need to do in the streetwear world. Like just stay over there, right?
I mean, you look at the Jordan 1, right? I think retail on the high is going to be
$2,000. Yeah.
There's obviously absolutely no reason why a Jordan 1 would cost $2,000, no matter what. Yeah, like unless it has diamonds on it, there's no reason why it would cost $2,000. But at the same time, to your point about being at the Jordan price point, Dior is making a Jordan 1, but imagine if they priced it at US $160 at regular Jordan 1 price, it would completely devalue the Dior brand, right? Because the Dior brand is right. But to your point about staying in their own lane of luxury goods, it kind of doesn't make sense because there's a reason why Dior costs a lot of money because of the craftsmanship and the materials, like you said, and the history of it. But there's no physical reason why a Jordan 1 has to cost that much money.
No reason.
Yeah, I know.
Like it's a great sneaker, don't get me wrong. And like there's been pictures of it too and shots where they show like the detailing on like the tongue, for example. And there's that vintage Dior repetitive logo, Dior. That's like super cool. Like that's the stuff that like makes the shoe priced at that point. There's probably so many other details we haven't seen, but there's literally no reason for that shoe to be MSRP at $2,000.
Exactly. I was almost able to reason with the Supreme Nike Air Max 95s, the leather ones.
Mm-hmm.
Or the Made in Italy ones that dropped last season. They came in black, blue, and red. I almost reasoned with those more at $500 because they were made in Italy. Yeah, exactly, right? That almost made more sense to me. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Still don't like them, but whatever. That's
man.
And then real quick, all white Air Force Ones. Hot take.
Timeless.
Yes.
Timeless. I think they're classic. I personally don't own a pair. I tried to secure those Supreme ones that came out a couple weeks ago with the small box logo, but couldn't. I'm going to hold off, not going to pull the trigger. But yeah, I think timeless. I've had a few pairs in the past, and it's just true. People say as long as you keep them clean and you keep them as much on ice as you can, they always look nice, right? The thing that I don't like is like when people start beating them up, or there's these like super like basic guys or basic girls that just like beat them to like the death, and they're all like scuffed up and everything. And then if you throw those on, that's when you kind of look like a Joe Schmo. I'm not a fan of that. So if they're clean, man, like I said, timeless for sure.
Totally agree. I know a lot of people in the sneaker space right now think that they're kind of being overworn and overdone with people in society. But I mean, there's a reason for that. You know what I mean? Like they're infiltrating every possible type of person for a reason because they are timeless, and you can't deny that. Even if you don't want to be wearing something that everyone else wears, can't deny the fact that it's a historic piece for sure.
Yeah, man. Tell Diddy they're not timeless. See what he says to you.
Yeah, exactly. Is there a brand that you wish got more attention in 2020 or moving forward?
Yeah, I think Kith just did a collab with them, Advisory Board Crystals, ABC. That brand, we've seen like a lot of outfit grid submissions with their pieces as well. And
really,
yeah, they're what they stand for, and like the way that they go about like crafting their stuff, like their hoodies, and like I would say mostly their hoodies are like pieces and designs that I haven't seen before. Like it's like a mixture of like textiles and like tie-dye, but like it's not really tie-dye. And I think like the quality of them is just insane. I need to get my hands on one for sure, but definitely couldn't justify the Kith retail on them.
What do they? I know, it's crazy.
Yeah.
What do they stand for as a brand? Educate me so that you can educate the audience, please.
Let me get the exact mission statement for you right now.
All right.
Yeah.
By the way, for those that are listening just via audio, Daniel is rocking a black Drew hoodie, which is a piece that I have yet to pick up, but I know I have to. Daniel throws a lot more cash at this stuff than I do, but that's just
wow.
We can't all have pockets that deep, but that's okay.
That's brutal. Josh, for everybody listening, is wearing a very clean white hoodie as always that has the staple. What did it say on the chest?
It says culture.
Classic.
Right. It is a Gilding 15500 heavyweight hoodie. Took the drawstrings out because I'm telling you right now, the 2020 trend for hoodies is no drawstrings. I said it here first.
Straight up. I agree. I'm trying to find some more insight on these people.
Yeah, no worries.
I honestly don't know what they stand for, man. I saw somebody say that like, oh yeah, I love what they stand for, and I just kind of stood behind that too. But I think what their like brand take is, they do like limited releases like Supreme. So like once something is sold out, that's it, can't get it anymore. They'll make no two pieces the same. And I think it's just so minimalistic what they do. There's just small ABC branding on every hoodie. It's right here. And there's some big prints sometimes, but I would say more or less like the words and like the stuff that the mind and the eyes are drawn to first in regards to branding is very simple. And I think that's the way the hoodies will go. Look, one logo on your hoodie, right? So yeah, man.
And you mentioned that retail on the ABC hoodies are 200, like just the regular ABC hoodies?
Not sure if they're 200. That Kith one was what? It was like 495 Canadian, right?
It was 290 US retail.
US, yeah. That's insane.
And I think ABCs are 200 regular, which is actually not out of the realm, but that's I'm gonna have to do some more digging into that brand. All my viewers should also do some digging into ABC
Yeah,
in
man.
case in a year we look at this podcast and they're the biggest brand in the world.
Imagine. That'd be insane.
Right? Well,
Yeah,
Daniel,
man.
thank you so much for joining me on episode 1 of the First Come First Serve podcast. I want to give you a chance to shout yourself out, tell my audience where people can find you if they want
Wow.
to follow along with all your shenanigans. Go for it.
It's like Hot Ones. You roll the red carpet.
Yeah.
This camera. Yeah, man. If you guys want to follow me on social media, it's at Daniel Colangelo. If you want to follow this lovely human being, it's at Josh Kobe. Kobe with a Y. RIP number 8, number 24, Kobe Bryant.
Right.
But yeah, at Josh Kobe is Josh's handle, as you guys know. At Daniel Colangelo is my handle. Definitely give Outfit Grid a follow. Would love to see you guys join that community. It's at Outfit Grid. If you have any questions or anything about it, definitely hit me up. Hit Josh if you have any questions for me. And thanks for having me on, Josh. I'm honored to be the first guest, and I definitely come back on if you ever need the extra set of lungs and vocal cords.
I would love that.
Man.
I'm gonna wait for you to pick up some more stuff and then
Cool,
and then
man.
You'll be back on the podcast.
Cool, man. Sounds good.
Guys, thank you so much for listening. Please stay safe and stay healthy throughout this time. Wishing you guys all the best, and I'll catch you guys soon.